Today we're back with a recap of episode 6 of Lovecraft Country, and it's called Meet Me in Deagu, and it was a interesting episode to say the least, like all the other episodes are. We learned a little bit about Tick's past and a lot more about one of the ladies from his past. So I will hand it over to V.
Okay, so recap. I had to take notes on this one because it was a wild episode and
a lot to keep track of.
But most of it did take place in one location, which was in Korea. So let's see. I'm going to try and make it quick so this is not very long. But we do meet a character. Her name is Gia, and the scene opens with her sitting in a movie theater and she's watching a Julie Garland movie, and I think it was Meet Me in St. Louis, yeah. And then we see that she actually kind of starts to fantasize about being in the movie. So I think Gia is a little bit of a dreamer.
She's a romantic.
She's like a dreamer. She likes movies. So we see her doing this. She's kind of, goofing off a little bit in the theater. Well, in her mind. She doesn't actually ever get up.
No.
So she is daydreaming that she's dancing in the theater. This episode is basically, it's a flashback episode. And it is going back into Atticus's life, but this episode mostly focuses on Gia the most. Because you don't see him until midway through the episode,
when he basically plays a role in her life.
Yeah, when he plays a role in her life. And what we find out is that the Gia character, she is possessed by this spirit called a
Kumiho.
Kumiho, yes. Kumiho.
A Kumiho, yeah.
Kumiho. And it's a 9-tailed like fox creature that we find out is in her body,
and it comes out of her orifices.
It comes out of her orifices, so we actually see her kind of like going on these speed dates, and at first we think she's probably really trying to find love, but I don't think that's the case. I think she's just looking for her next
victim,
her next soul. She has to collect like 99 souls. Well, and I think in the show too, her mom, who is Sunhee, she believes that if her daughter, I guess, collects these 99 souls, that it will release her back to her human form. But it doesn't seem like Gia believes that.
No, she doesn't think it's true, because she doesn't recall this, the Kumiho or whatever, the spirit ever possessing her. So she doesn't think it's true. She just thinks her mom's. Yeah. Because the purpose of the Kumiho is to, like you said, it's a 9-tailed fox, but it's to, I think, rid of, let me see, I wrote it down. It takes the form of a beautiful woman, which Gia is, to avenge the wrongdoings done by men.
Yes. So, and the reason why, so let me tell you why the mother is responsible for why this spirit is in Gia. And that's because Gia's father was actually molesting and raping her. And so the mother actually goes to a Shima, I think it's called. It's like kind of like a witch doctor, if we're saying that wrong, like forgive me, but and so basically she asked for this spirit to come into her daughter to actually, I guess, punish the father for raping her. But she doesn't understand like that
it's going to be in her forever.
Anytime you go dipping into the spirit world, and I think it's across most cultures, there's usually a price that this spirit wants in return. It's
never
for
free. And it's always usually at the expense of someone close to that person that had asked for it.
Right.
So I don't know why she thought it would be a free favor, but
I don't know why either. They want their debt, and you have to pay it back in some way, shape, or form. And when you start, that's why I don't.
That's why we don't participate in any spirits.
I don't go messing around in the spirit world. I'm like, because that when they come to collect their due,
they want their dues.
So we know that she has that within her, and basically it's in Korea, and I think last video I accidentally called her Vietnamese. I think I did.
I think we did.
That was a mistake.
I think we both did.
She's Korean, so it does take place in Korea. And like I said, it kind of skips into the middle of the movie, and this is where we see Atticus. And this Atticus is a completely different person from what we've seen in previous episodes.
Opposite.
It's almost like he's a robot. Like his mind is just like not fully there. He's just going with whatever he's like being told to do.
He's heartless.
There's no emotion.
No emotion.
We first see him. So let's jump back a little bit, and I'll tell you how we meet him. So Gia actually meets a girl who becomes her best friend, and her name is Youngji. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yep.
Youngja. Yeah. And she becomes best friends with her. And of course, the American soldiers arrive in Korea, and they're like passing out these pamphlets, telling the people there they don't need to fear the American soldiers. And we already know like the Americans are against the communists. So we find out that her best friend is kind of a supporter of the Communist Party, and someone goes back and kind of tells the American it leaks back to the American soldiers that there is like a supporter of the communists amongst the group of nurses, because that's what Gia and her friend are. They work in this hospital as like, I guess, nurses aides and nurses, and they are attending to some of the wounded American soldiers. And so it gets back that someone in that hospital is a communist sympathizer or a supporter. And so they end up, the American soldiers pull all of the female nurses out of this hospital, and they're trying to get them to snitch and tell which one of them is the supporter. And the first soldier we see just pulls out a gun and just shoots the lady in the head, like while they're on their knees. And then he goes to pick another woman because no one's still not saying anything, and his gun like jams. And then that's when we see Atticus, because he calls Atticus up, and then Atticus just like just
shoots her,
no nothing, just shoots the woman next to Gia. I think she was like next in the head, and then she was about to be next, and then that's when the best friend actually like blocks her and she confesses like, it's me, and then she gets pulled off and taken somewhere, like, so you don't see her get killed right away. They just snatch her and take her away.
You just assume you assume, you fill in the blanks.
Yeah. So basically at this point, Gia has decided, okay, I'm gonna remember them, and
my last victim.
They will be. They're both. I'm surprised she did not actually target the other soldier, the first one. Like,
that is
why
true.
Her focus was so on.
Because
Atticus.
doesn't she reference that Atticus killed Youngja? So that's why.
Well, but I mean, but there was multiple. I think that same guy was there.
I don't know why. What it was about Tick.
Unless she had plans on getting both of them, but she was like, I'll get this one first.
She could have.
Because he was in she ends up seeing, so she says like she's going to get revenge on him. So what happens is, Tick ends up in the hospital. So she sees him and she remembers him. So Tick gets injured. They don't show how he got injured, I don't believe. But he ends up in the hospital. So she looks and then she realizes, that's the same guy that just blew that girl's head off. And that's going to be my next victim. Yep. I'm going to get him.
Yep. They're mine.
Yeah. She's like, I am going to get him. So she starts striking up, I guess, conversation with him, trying to ease her way in there, trying to get him comfortable so she can seduce him. And what she does with these guys, too, just so you know, with this 9-tailed fox thing, is that she lures them back to her house. And she has like this, her mom has set up this special room for her. So
it's a prepared room.
It's a prepared room because they already know what's going to happen in it. And she brings the guys back, and it turns sexual, and then that's when this spirit comes out of her, and it's like 9 tails that come out of like her eyes, her ears, her nose, her mouth,
her private
parts. And it seemed like you caught this, but I really didn't. But you were telling me that it seems like it doesn't come out until the guys have reached their pleasure climax or something like that.
It does, because you notice it too in the, well, you only see 2, right? It happens with 2. It was when he reached his highest climax that spirit came out, and it comes out in a certain order, but I don't recall that.
I think it looked like it came out of her nose first. Mm-hmm. Well, no, because you know what? With the first guy, it looked like it actually was between. It was lower.
From her private.
But then, like when she was with Atticus, it looked like it came out of her nose.
Because she was able to stop it, because she reached over and stopped it.
Yeah, we're skipping ahead though.
Yes.
So let's get to. So that's what she's doing with the guys, because she has to collect these 99 souls in order to free herself. So she lures these guys back. We see her actually flirting with a guy in a bar in the beginning, and it happens with him. Then it happens
with a few more.
Yeah, it happens with a few more. We see like a soldier. We don't actually see their sexual encounter, but we know that we see the soldier early on and them flirting, and the next thing you know, you see his uniform and the room is bloody because the tails actually kind of like they attach to the male, and she can actually see their flashbacks of the memories, and even into their future, because I think with Atticus she was seeing his future, and then it kills him, and then their body's just like, they bust.
It's dirty.
And then their room is like covered in blood.
And the mom comes in ready to clean it.
Comes in and cleans up all the blood and prepares her for her next victim.
It's just weird.
It is. It was weird. So let me see. Where am I at? Because so anyway, she starts to get comfortable with Atticus. They go on some dates. That's when she kind of starts to discover that there's a little bit more to Atticus, like it's a little deeper, and that he's not just like mindlessly killing people, that the war and the training has affected him.
And he actually doesn't want to be
and he kind of doesn't want to be in the war, and that he feels comfortable when he's with her. And then she finds out that he's a virgin the first time they were going to be intimate, so she sends him back home. Plus, I think she realizes too that he pays attention to what she likes, because the first date he takes her on, he knows she likes
so sweet.
movies.
So he did a little Judy Garland movie.
Yeah, and he had the guys on the base kind of like help him set up that little date.
Yeah, it was cute.
So she starts to catch, I think she's catching some feelings.
Her heart started to go a little pitter patter.
So she's catching some feelings, and she's like, oh, okay, I don't want to really kill this one because
I actually like him.
I like this one, right? So we do actually see that the first time they do have sexual relations.
Nothing happens.
That's what we call it. Sexual relations. Nothing happens. She was able to, so I guess she was able to control it that first time.
But she was also, you know what I just realized?
What?
She was also dominant during that time, though. So I think it's when she's dominant, she controls it better, because you'll get to it, their final encounter. But.
Right. So, and when she means dominant, like, too, she was, in the other scenes we see the first guy, like, he was basically on top.
Yeah, they take the lead.
Yeah, they take the lead, and then when the first time she was with Atticus, she was actually, it was reversed. So she was more in a more controlling situation there, and I guess better able to control this. What is it?
The tails, the Kumiho.
The Kumiho, yeah.
Look, the tails, the Kumiho, whatever you want to call them.
The Kumiho, yeah. So she was able to control it at that point.
Because you didn't even feel them coming out, because you can tell when they're starting to.
Yeah, you start to see them like creeping out here. Yeah, it was kind of creepy there. Very creepy. Okay, so then we see the friend. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes, guys, because I'm trying to keep it in order here. We kind of skip all over the place when we start talking about it. So finally, in the last encounter they have, Atticus and Gia, they do have sex again, and then this time, like she said, it's kind of like flipped, where Atticus seems like he's more in the dominant role during their encounter, and she's actually enjoying herself. Because if you notice the other encounter, she was just kind of like staring off into,
this is like
she was just like kind of blank. But in this one, you can tell she's actually receiving pleasure from it, and so she's not really paying attention. And then we start to see the tails,
tails coming out,
and then the next thing you know, she opens her eyes and she tries to.
She caught them.
One. Yeah, she tries to catch them and stop them from like killing him. But they do get a chance to kind of wrap it around him, and she does see into his past and his future a little bit.
Which is the future.
Yeah, but this is what's interesting in her vision, because when she has this vision, what she sees Atticus when he was younger with his mother. So then we find out that woman in the vision is the lady that George was dancing with
in the second episode
in the mansion. At Lovecraft. So that is the same woman, which further makes us think that George is probably Atticus's father.
Yep, he is the father.
I think he's the father.
I think so too.
And then the other thing we see is a mysterious woman. That we don't know who it is. There's a black lady that she sees in bed with Tick in the vision. So I don't know who that is. And it wasn't
Letty, so.
It's not Letty, and it's not, So we don't know who that woman is. And then she sees Atticus' death. Like he's tied to this.
It was like an electric chair or
like something he's tied to, and then she sees his death.
Yep. So she tells him,
"Don't go home.
Don't go home." But at this point, Tick's just scared.
Yeah, because once when all these things start attaching to him, Tick just freaks out on her.
He rolls out of bed.
He rolls out. He's like yelling at her, like, "Get away from me! Don't touch me!"
What was that?
Look, it's the same thing I would have done. Pump your brakes. Get away from me! Look, don't touch me with that.
Don't touch me. Well, because two of the tails actually attached to his eyes.
Yeah, they attached to the.
Yep. And
I think that's the ones that she's using to look into their
the vision,
have the visions of their past.
He
and
just
their future.
it wasn't supposed to be funny, but I just laughed because he just rolled out of bed and was like, "What the heck was that?
Don't touch me!
Don't touch me! Get away from me!"
It was funny. I was like, he is not having none of that. So yeah, she tries to get him not to go back, but of course he does go back, as we see in future glimpses of the next episode that
he's back.
He went back, but that's the recap for the episode. So this is just my theory on what I think she's seen. To me, I think the future she probably sees, like when she makes that phone call. If you notice in the last episode, he received a call from her, and she was like, "I told you not to go back.
To go home. It wasn't safe.
Yeah, not to go home. It wasn't safe." But I'm wondering if Atticus that she knows did die.
And this is a reincarnated.
And this is a different Atticus, because their personalities don't seem.
They're two total different Atticus. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't. So I'm wondering if it was like it was a death but a rebirth, and she,
it could
and
be.
that's what she saw. But then my other question about her, she's a very interesting character. So I'm wondering if she fulfilled her 99 souls, and if she found 10 more guys to.
Because you never really. Because when they go to see the shaman So after all this happens, I think soon he actually realizes that, hey, like, I've done so much to my daughter. Mm-hmm. So they actually try to go back to the shaman to get it undone, but she never really undoes.
Because it's like, and it's the same. It's like when I was telling you, it seems like the same thing no matter what culture it is. If you dabble in the spirit world, there's a price to pay. It also seems like most people also follow that rule of, once magic is done, it can't be undone. Yeah.
So, and they leave you with a cliffhanger that you don't know, like, if she, you do know that the shaman didn't do anything, but it's like, what did she do after that?
Yeah. Did she finish her
99
souls,
people?
Yeah, too.
So I don't know if they're gonna show that in the next episode or in the coming episodes, but it, just like any other episode, leaves you questioning.
But it's also interesting too, because it goes back to what about the women being really interesting, because that's another interesting woman that's on the show, and you kind of wonder what role she'll play. And is she going to help him,
or is she going to be against him?
She'll be against him.
She'll be
like
mad.
What role is she going to play? And then I can't wait to see, like, is she still in love with him?
Yep.
And is that going to cause a little bit of
tension
between her and Letty? Like, and then who's this third mystery woman?
Right. Because you actually caught that. I didn't like completely catch it, and I was just like, wait, hold up.
I was like, yeah, that's a different lady in the bed with him.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So who is that?
I don't know.
Are we ever going to find out?
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for the drama in the future episodes. I want those two to meet each other.
Well, they probably will. This isn't the last you're seeing of Gia, I don't think.
Do you think? No. Do you think Gia could even possibly be pregnant by Atticus?
There was a scene, I think it was when we were talking earlier off cam, where
well, of course she wouldn't still be pregnant, but do you think she had a child?
I mean, she could have very well had. I mean, they were together for quite some time, it seemed like, and there was that scene where I did think she was pregnant, so I was like, oh snaps.
But I think they were dating, but I think they only had that the one time where he could have possibly maybe got her pregnant. Because I don't think they got a chance to finish when the
the spirit came
I can't
out.
say this name. It's so hard for me to say.
Kumiho.
I don't think they got a chance to actually finish that.
Yeah.
So, or he could have. I don't know.
But
so there was 2 times that he possibly could have got her pregnant.
I mean, she could very well be. Nothing's impossible.
And then you wonder what that kid will be, because she's possessed by a spirit.
Right.
So they about to give birth to like some
a baby
warlock spirit or something.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
I mean, anything's possible, because they left it up and he just kind of, you just assume he just kind of up and left. Well, I mean, you can't blame him, but yeah, he just did. So I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not going to say no, because there's a big possibility there's a little baby tick out there.
Wouldn't it be crazy too if he like got Letty pregnant and like he has kids by Gia
or
and
the
other lady? Yeah, I'm just really curious to see who the other woman is, and then like I said, what part Gia will play. Like, is she?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, is she going to be like an ally or an enemy?
It depends, because when you see his visions of her and you don't weren't they fighting in one?
Well, in one he was protecting her. Like when he saw her in the first episode as an alien, it looked like she was kind of like hiding behind him as like her protector. But then when we see her again,
they're fighting.
She's this in the mansion in Lovecraft, and he's fighting her, and he actually tries to choke her to death. So I was like, it's kind of weird. So I don't know what that's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could go both ways.
It could go both ways. Yeah,
But nonetheless, if Letty finds out that used to be Tixa,
can't wait to see what goes on there.
No matter what, if you find out that was your man's, former love.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people, we did see mixed reviews for this episode. It seems like some people liked it, some people didn't. I can see where people might have been a little bit thrown off by this episode because it was like 80% subtitles, so you had to read it, and a lot of American people don't like reading subtitles, so
it's a lot of multitasking you have to do.
Yeah, because I actually went back and tried to look at more because I was like so busy kind of trying to look at the scenes, but then
that
also
you couldn't
read
see
at the
what
same
the
time.
script
So I
was.
kind of went back and like paused some of it so I could read it better.
I did too. I was like, wait, what did he say?
Like, yeah, what did she just say?
Or to catch the names because they, while they're talking,
you guys already know I'm not good with names.
They say the name so fast. Like, Sun Hee, when they said that name, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm not good with names, so yeah, that's how I was too. And then I had to stop it, like, okay, wait a minute, so I could follow it, and then because it's visually nice, it's
nice
pretty.
It
was actually a good episode of it. It was filmed more like a movie.
That's what I felt like too.
Yeah, because it was a continuous. It stayed in one place, but like I said, I can see where it would throw people off because they're used to the show kind of jumping
back and forth
through different characters, and this one mostly focused on Gia, and then you got Atticus in the middle of the episode, and like I said, it was 80% subtitled. So, and then I think also too that people went into it thinking that it was going to be a continuation of last week's episode, which was crazy. So I can understand people probably wanted to know.
Yeah, because now they're like, what's happening to Christina?
Yeah, how Ruby feels finding out that Christina is William. So hopefully they'll circle back around to that.
I hope so.
But it kind of looks like next week's focus is going to be on Hippolyta.
I think so too. So we might have to hold on to Ruby for a little bit.
I actually don't think you're going to find out a whole lot more about Ruby
until
it's going to probably end on a cliffhanger, and you'll have to come back next season.
Oh, for sure.
To see what's going to happen with Ruby, and then even with that weird ass sheriff that looks like he's wearing someone else's skin. Did you notice that?
Yes.
Yeah, he had. It was like at first when I first looked at it, I was like, is he burned? But then I looked at it again, and to me it looks like he has on a dark person's skin drafted over him,
or who that guy was in that cabinet.
Yeah, or who the guy is in the.
I don't think we'll find out this.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're not done with Ruby and
scenes. I don't think we're done with Ruby.
We just probably won't find out about that whole Ruby Christina trio, duo, whatever.
Exactly.
Until
and then of course
season.
they're still trying to get into Letty's house to
figure out what they need.
Get out what they need from there. So yeah, next week should be interesting. It'll focus on another character, much like this episode did. That was another person I was just like, I am very intrigued by Hippolyta.
I want to see what power
is it about this woman. I was like, I want to know what's going on with her.
I mean, knowing what we know about Gia now and what power she possessed with the Kumiho, like I'm wondering if Hippolyta is even more powerful.
Yeah.
And what power she possesses. So that's what excites me about that episode.
Yeah. Because for me, Hippolyta seems like she might be very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something about her seems like, because she's, very much into science, and she's trying to figure out that, what do they have a name for that? It's like the solar system, but is there a name for that actual thing? Anyways, that little those little solar system things that they actually clock the cycles around the sun.
Oh yeah, there's
remember it was broken.
Yeah,
and so she's trying to figure out how to fix that. Then she took that from Letty's house.
I think she did.
Look, she's a thief. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, I think
she got that from Letty's house, but she's trying to figure out how to fix it. And from the preview, it looks like she does figure out how to fix that. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like the top of that where the sun is opened. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering what that is too.
We'll find out next week.
We will. All right, guys. Well, I don't want to keep you. Is there anything else you want to say about this one?
No, I think it was a good episode, and like you said, for once it felt like a movie that it just flowed, and it was easy, but it was hard to follow at the same time. Easy because it was one story, but hard because, like you said, it was 80% subtitles, so you had to read and watch all at the same time. I kind of wish that. Don't you think maybe they should have flipped the episodes, done this last week or in the earlier part of the season.
I don't think it could have been much earlier than
after the
last
second
week.
Yeah.
But I don't know where they would have stuck the scene where Atticus figures out the Titus's notes.
Yeah.
Because that's when he figures out something. Like, remember on the paper was written
it's a die,
and that's when he got the call, and I think that's why they put the episode here. But
it makes sense. But I'm like, should this have been earlier? Because it's a little more about.
But I do feel like it kind of like for a lot of people it was like they slowed the pace down, and some people they probably were just like, really after what we just had last week with
you're gonna do this
with all the skin changing and
right, and now you're gonna
people getting revenge on their bosses.
But hey, listen, there was still.
But this episode was still interesting to me.
There was still a lot of, interestingness and witchery going on in this.
There was a lot of
it doesn't come short.
Crazy, weird, wild stuff going on in this episode.
I don't think this show misses a beat.
Mm-mm.
I actually, I forgot where I put it, but I actually ended up getting the book, so.
Yeah. I don't know when I would have time to read that book.
Oh, I don't know. I'm actually going to read it. It might be 10 years from now, but I have the book.
Yeah, because we're curious. Because I also heard that some of the stuff has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I was reading some of the reviews, people were saying, like, some of the stuff that we saw in this last episode
wasn't in the book.
Some of it's not in the book. So.
Oh, yeah, they had to make it visually pleasing.
Yeah, and you have to change it up so it's not boring for the people who have read the book.
Right.
And so you keep them kind of in suspense a little bit.
But overall, it was a good episode, and I'm still looking forward to 7. I can't count.
Yeah,
7th
episode.
8, 9.
Did we even look up what the 7th episode was going to be called? I can't even remember.
We did a while ago, but of course I can't remember.
I can't remember either, and I won't hold you up to do it. We'll be back to do a review on it.
We certainly will. Well, thanks for watching, you guys. So stay tuned. Next week we will have episode 7 recap. Let us know what you guys thought about episode 6. What did you guys think about Gia?
Yeah, and those not that 9-tailed fox spirit,
right? So let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.